In the last video, I introduced how to draw a schematic and create a symbol for the inverter. And after we do that, we are ready to create a layout for this inverter. So how to do that? Let's go back to the main menu. And here you can see in the cell, this cell and inverter and schematic is already created for this inverter. And in order to create a layout, we need to right click on this cell, inverter, new layout, and click OK to enter the layout editor. And for here, we just remain all the things by default and click OK. And before we do the layout, we first need to set up something. Here we go to MGC tab, the MGC tab, and go to Setup. Here we click Default, and left. Let's select the left, right tilting. Click OK. So after we set up those options, we now have two windows. So on the right side is our schematic, and on the left side is the layout sheet. The first step for this layout is to put in the instance of the MOS and PMOS. So we first activate this small window, and then click DLA layout, and to see we have an instance tab to click on it. So you can see this MOS is selected. So on the left side you can see a small layout. That means this layout is for this MOS, and we place this MOS. And next is the layout for the PMOS, because you can see this PMOS is selected. And after we place this instance, the next step is to place the import, output, VDD, and VSS. The thing we need to do is to first select the layout window and then click on the port button. And you can see on my cursor, there's a pinky block, and it has two lines of text. The first line probably indicates the metal layers this port is located in, and the second line tells you the name of the port, or the name of the port is VDD. But we usually put the ports in the metal layer, so we press the 4 button to go up to M1 layer, and then put the VDD on the top of PMOS. And then we still change the layer to M1 for VSS and put SS at the bottom of the MOS. And the third port we need to put is the out port. We also change the layer to M1 by pressing the 4 key and put it on the right. And finally, it's the in port. We also change it to M1 and put it on the left side. And after we put those ports, we need to change the size of this port because it's very small and invisible if we zoom out. So here's the trick. This operation might seem a little bit complex, but it's very useful. So it is you have to better know how to do it. So we press the button, press the E key to edit the shape of this port. At the very first beginning, press F2. First press F2 to unselect all the things, and then press E and click on this edge, and then you can see this shape can extend in the X dimension, in the X axis. and one click here, and then press F2 again to unselect, and then press E, and at this time we select this edge to expand this shape in the Y dimension. Press F2 to unselect. Yeah, we are done for this VDD, and next we'll do it for the import, the output, and the VDD port. Same, F2, press E, click on this edge, and expand it in the X dimension, and then press F2 again, press E, and expand this shape in the Y dimension, press F2 again. So just remember, when you expand this shape, you always follow by a F2 key. And for this one, press E to expand it, F2, press E, F2. Press E, F2, press E, F2. Once this instance and the ports are ready, we are now ready to connect all those components. So to make the connection, the shortcut is not W, but for this case it is I. So I means the I route here. Then so we press the I key, and you can see there's a test on my cursor. It indicates what layer is this interconnect located in. So now it's in the poly layer. It is okay to connect these two polys. That's this connection, because these two components are in the poly layer. That's the very bottom layer. So we click on this one and drag, and it will connect to here. And it seems that we need to connect this wire to this port. However, this wire is on the poly layer. And this port is in layer M1. M1 is above poly, so we need to add a wire to go up one layer to reach this M1 layer. In order to do that, we first click on this wire, and then for here we press the number key 4. Then it will automatically generate a wire for you to go from poly to M1, and then we one click here, and then finally we connect this. So we can see this Y goes from poly and go through a wire from poly to M1, and then finally connect this wire to M1. And for these three terminals, they are all in the M1 layer, so we just need to connect them directly. Press one click here, one click here, one click here, and then one click here, one click here. One click here, one click here, one click here, and one click here. And for now, we connect most of the interconnect for all these components. However, we still have one connection that need to be done. That is, you can see a small yellow line here, and it indicates that the connection between the VDD and the base of PMOS, and the connection between the VSS and the base of the MOS. And to do that, we should add a via. We cannot connect using this I route or the I button. We need to do that in another way. So to do that, we first select this VDD port, and then we just scroll down here, and you can see the VIA tab here, and click on this VIA tab, click on this small arrow, and then select the field selected. And for this one, for the PMOS, we need to select M1 and well. And for VSS, we'll do the same, field select, but for this one, for this MOS, we will select M1 P sub. And then we are done for the layout of the inverter. Just don't forget to add a test on this port, test on port actually. And this window pops out. Here we can tune the test size, but 0.2 is okay for this small layout. You can also adjust the locations of our test, but for here we just remain this by default. Click OK. So you can see that test appears on this port, like VSS, out, in, and VDD. Yeah, that's it for the layout of the inverter.